Why was the Queen's mother-in-law secretly hidden away?
Nobody wanted to talk about it, and it was regarded as rather...
Princess Alice is very definitely the royal family's best-kept secret.
Well, we forget there was another Queen Mum. Very eccentric, but also incredibly strong-willed.
Why was Prince Philip's mother betrayed by her own family?
Prince Philip's mother was born a princess, but turned her back on royal life.
Alice's behaviour becomes increasingly erratic. Behaviour that would lead her family to take action that would scar her for years to come.
How did she become one of the most loved royals of all?
You didn't think of Aunt Alice as a cosy old aunt. You thought of her as somebody rather unique.
This is the strange and remarkable story of Prince Philip's mother, Princess Alice, one of the royal family's best-kept secrets.
Prince Philip's mother was unlike any other princess.
Well, we forget there was another Queen Mum. Very eccentric, but also incredibly strong-willed.
Unlike the Queen Mum, Prince Philip's mother was born a princess, but turned her back on royal life.
Her life started with great challenges and a disability.
She was stone deaf, and my grandmother realized that she had to just get used to coping with her disability herself.
Princess Alice was born in Windsor Castle, the great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, and the sister of the infamous Lord Mountbatten.
Alice was a princess, but her life was more of a fight than a fairy tale.
Alice married Prince Andrew of Greece as a young woman. With the outbreak of World War I, they were forced into exile.
It was all so awful. My aunt did have a very difficult time.
The First World War changed everything, and because of that, she was exiled from Greece several times, back and forth.
At the time, Alice had 4 young daughters, and then came her firstborn son.
To add to her worries, Alice had just given birth to a 5th child. In June 1921, Prince Philip was delivered on the kitchen table of Alice's country home.
With 5 children, they were forced to flee Greece again.
And the young family is then in exile once again, but at least they're alive, and Alice is thrilled to have her husband back.
They may be alive, but Alice and Andrea flee Greece with little money and few possessions.
During their exile, Alice's mind began to unravel.
As their time in exile wears on, Alice's behaviour becomes increasingly erratic. Behaviour that would lead her family to take action that would scar her for years to come.
Alice began to believe that she could talk to Jesus, and even more, that Jesus was talking to her. Her own family feared how it would affect their image.
Her mother, Victoria, perhaps embarrassed by Alice's behaviour, conspires with the family doctor to send her to another clinic.
But Princess Alice lost more than just her freedom.
But the hardest separation of all was from her youngest child, Prince Philip.
For the young Prince Philip, it was devastating.
As a kid of 11 or 12, to have your mother suddenly abducted from you, being told she was mad, and at the same time, your father is vanishing off with a mistress somewhere, it's not really surprising. He's got a pretty tough exterior.
The poor young Philip had no real home.
But it was a very difficult childhood for him. And the time of the holidays, he never actually knew where he was going to go when he started the holidays. I mean, I suppose he was told just shortly before, but there wasn't the feeling of having a definite home like all children have.
He was taken from his mother and moved to England.
One of the royal family once said Prince Philip was like a dog always looking for a basket, and that characterized his early life. He was always being shuffled from pillar to post, from one relative to the other.
Finally, it was his uncle, Lord Mountbatten, who had taken the young Philip under his wing. It was there that he fell in love with Elizabeth. But the British public did not approve.
Who was this young man, Prince Philip? Philip of Greece? Was he a real prince? Where were his parents, for example? He was, to many people, a suspect character, the prince from nowhere.
And no one mistrusted him more than Elizabeth's mother.
She felt that Philip was, with all these mysterious European connections, he wasn't a sound chap, he was dangerous.
But what had happened to Philip's mother?
Alice was alone again and quite poor for a while. Eventually, she returned to Greece, and when the Second World War started, the princess decided to share what little she had with those in need.
Princess Alice gave up her royal life once and for all.
Prince Philip's 63-year-old mother was about to unveil her biggest shock yet.
More astonishing, she became a nun.
After the war, Alice founded her own sisterhood of nuns and built an orphanage.
While the royal family had been preparing for the coronation, Princess Alice had been hard at work, founding her very own religious order.
In her old age, her health declined. Prince Philip insisted his mother return to England.
After a lifetime separated by madness, war, and family politics, Philip and his mother were together at last.
Finally, Prince Alice's life ended where it had begun, back in England with the British royal family. After her passing, she was awarded for her kindness.
Princess Alice's coffin was flown to Jerusalem and interred in the Orthodox Church on the Mount of Olives.
Today, Princess Alice is a saint to many.
Shortly afterwards, her son made a pilgrimage to her grave and accepted the highest possible honor on her behalf from the Jewish nation for her courageous actions during the Second World War.
Person with a deep religious faith, and she would have considered it to be perfectly natural human reaction to fellow beings in distress.
Do you believe the royal family hid Princess Alice to protect their own perfect image? Or was it to protect Alice herself?